Right now on Denver 7, Unlicensed and Unpunished.
You are Brittany, right?
Yes.
I'm Dr. Flint.
Hi.
Contact 7 goes undercover and exposes Colorado's healthcare imposters.
Why am I being arrested?
You said you're a clinical psychologist, sir.
No, I'm not. I didn't say that. I'm a clinical psychologist.
Fake psychologists, nurses, a fake doctor who would stick a needle in your face for the right price.
What do you need?
Please, what's up? So you do the treatment. Are you the doctor?
Yeah.
You're the doctor who does the treatment?
Even an accused fake dentist.
There was a point where we started noticing that the instruments were getting rusted.
They work with some of Colorado's most vulnerable people.
911. What's going on there?
I am in a lot of pain with my stomach.
The Colorado system designed to stop these imposters failed time and again. But Contact 7 got results and held our government leaders accountable.
In public office, you hate to tell the journalists we wouldn't have gotten it, and you're actually making the community safer.
Now, from Denver 7, with Unlicensed and Unpunished, here's Contact 7 investigative reporter Ryan Luby.
Hi, everyone. An untold number of Coloradans have been or continue to be at risk and may not even know it. And because of you, the Contact 7 Investigates team now has the ability to call for change. Over the next 30 minutes, you will understand why. State regulators and the governor are promising to right the kind of wrongs we're uncovering and are already taking action. These are the faces of people we know are healthcare imposters. One of them now faces criminal charges, another is about to go to trial, and yet another is off the grid as police try to find him. State regulators told at least 30 people over the last 3 years to stop performing healthcare jobs without licenses. But there's no evidence they followed up with any of the cases until we started asking questions. Only 2 of the people on that original list ever faced charges for unlicensed practice. And that's where we begin. The man you're about to meet claims he's licensed to treat adults and children, some who've suffered the worst a human being can endure. But he's not licensed, and he's not trained the way state law requires. The state told him to stop years ago, but he ignored that and knew it until we confronted him.
Sometimes you just have to see it to believe it.
How are you today? I'm good.
Here, we can prove it.
You are Brittany, right?
Yes.
I'm Dr. Flint.
Hi.
Our producer met with a man named Randy Flint in Pueblo. If you were to believe him, he can help you with your mental health needs. His website said he can treat eating disorders, sexual abuse, and suicidal tendencies, people on the brink. He says he treats lots of patients.
I see about 35 clients a week.
But the state called him out just last year as a fraud.
What are your, credentials?
I'm a clinical psychologist.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
And before being a clinical psychologist, I was in ministry where I had a little in religious background.
Uh-huh. So you have the state certification or whatever? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Mr. Flint?
Yes.
We work for Channel 7 up in Denver.
Yes, sir.
And I'm curious to know if you're licensed to practice psychology in this state.
We don't have this is a church in here.
It's a church?
Uh-huh.
You're practicing therapy,
No.
marriage counseling. That's what your website says.
Yes, sir.
Brittany works for us. She's one of our undercover producers.
Okay.
You've been issued 3 cease and desist orders from this state
Yes,
not
sir.
to do this. Why are
We're
you
not doing this.
What are you doing then?
I'm doing a church in here.
You said you're a clinical psychologist, sir.
No, I'm not. I didn't say that.
Yes, you did. We're
Okay, look,
Why are you doing this, Mr.
I'm
Flint?
I'm closing the store right now. I'm walking away. Sir, I'm done.
Anyway, you get the idea. Is that concerning to you to see that?
It is concerning, and I really I appreciate you bringing that to our attention, because now that we know, we can take the next step.
But staff at the Department of Regulatory Agencies, or DORA, have known, despite their thoughts after seeing our confrontation. You see, the agency filed 3 separate cease and desist orders against Randy Flint last year because he is not, never has been, licensed to practice psychology, therapy, or counseling in Colorado. But it took them 8 months to even do that. 8 months after they got their first complaint about him back in the spring of 2016. They also admit that they never referred his case to law enforcement, though they said that is standard practice. They also now recognize what we uncovered, that there's no record of him having a doctorate in psychology, only a degree in divinity from a Christian university.
I mean, you see what the state's telling you, right?
Yes.
I mean, are they wrong?
No.
We also learned that Flint was accused of fraud in 2006. Around the same time, creditors were suing him too.
This is your time to talk to us.
Flint has since closed his office after we confronted him. Off camera, his now former patients said they had no idea he was a fraud. State attorneys subpoenaed Contact 7's investigative producer to testify in court about what we saw. Pueblo police now have a warrant for Flint's arrest, and the Pueblo district attorney is also building a case against him, charging him with unauthorized practice under state law.
Could it be better?
We can always be better. As an agency, we are consistently looking for ways to improve our protection of the public.
Now, Flint worked for himself, but some of these imposters managed to get hired by real hospitals or nursing homes. In one case, a fake nurse worked at a facility where a man actually had to call 911 for himself because his family says the people caring for him ignored his cries for help.
911.
Minutes matter when people are in trouble.
Caller, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, ma'am.
Here you are inside a room at Woodridge Terrace Nursing Home in Commerce City, where a man in his 50s named Wes Carr needed help.
Okay. What's going on there?
I am in a lot of pain with my stomach.
The call to 911 in January of 2017 came as Carr's family and their attorney say he'd been complaining of pain for days.
Bad stomach pain, was stopping eating, was stopping drinking.
Attorney Jay Reinen says the situation was so bad that Carr's stomach became distended. He says Carr, who had cerebral palsy, finally ended up in the hospital after his 911 call, but it was too late. 2 days later, he was dead of septic shock and organ failure. Months later, Reinen and Carr's family learned what Contact 7 uncovered, that one of the nurses who had a hand in caring for Carr was no nurse at all.
What is this in regards to?
Well, Ms. Jackson, here's the deal: is there's another Jennifer Jackson who seems to think that you're using her license to practice medicine here. No.
Police body camera video captures the fake nurse, Jennifer Jackson. She stole the name and nursing license number of another woman named Jennifer Jackson, who is a real nurse, and faked her way into a job at Woodridge Terrace.
And a woman said, "You don't know me, but I just wanted to give you a courtesy call that someone is using your RN license number and they're not a nurse."
The real Jennifer learned about it in an anonymous phone call, then called police.
And at first I was kind of like, "What are you talking about? This sounds like a prank call." I was like, "What?"
No prank at all. Records we dug up show that fake Jennifer handled patient medications, conducted tests, did the types of things real nurses do. And she'd done it before, assuming the names and license numbers of other people she found right on the state's licensing website. One court document shows Jackson went as far as calling the state to reset the password for another person's licensure account, then changed the address on the license to her own. State records show the fake Jennifer worked as a nurse or certified nurse's aide at 8 different medical facilities over a period of roughly 6 years.
Because I think she has learned that the system is flawed and that she's able to slip through these cracks like this over and over again.
We know it's true because state regulators filed 2 separate cease and desist orders against the fake Jennifer, telling her to stop what she was doing, but she ignored the orders. And by the time real Jennifer got the anonymous phone call in February last year, fake Jennifer had been promoted at Woodridge Terrace to assistant director of nursing.
Ms. Jackson, do me a favor and put your hands behind your back, please.
And why am I being arrested?
You're under arrest because I believe that you falsified your information there.
It's got to be infuriating, I would think.
Yeah, it's maddening that she was able to get away with it for this long and that she put the trust of the medical community at risk like this.
Fake Jennifer pleaded guilty to felony identity theft in the Woodridge case. Despite that, it appears she's planning to go to trial in a separate case in El Paso County, where she also worked as a traveling nurse after being arrested for stealing the other Jennifer's identity. She's also now facing another set of charges out of Denver.
Well, it's incredibly alarming.
Alarming, but not surprising, Reinen says. He's fought nursing homes and state regulators for more than a decade over substandard care or unlicensed workers. He's currently suing Woodridge on behalf of Wes Carr's family.
Well, I tell people that they're always confused by it. Fake doctors? Right. I mean, how can there be such a thing as fake doctors? Doesn't the state look after that? They really don't.
It's unclear to what extent the fake Jennifer was involved with Wes Carr's treatment, but state records show she was working at Woodridge the day that Wes made that call for help. And Reinen says he's going to use her mere employment at Woodridge as leverage, that the facility is not as buttoned up on protecting patients as it could be. He also says it's evidence that the state needs to double down on healthcare imposters for good.
They need to change the statutes. They need to make this, put some teeth in the statutes, make the regulators regulate.
Meanwhile, state regulators are doubling down on another accused fake nurse, Heather Wood. She is also facing criminal charges. The allegations are that she too commandeered a nursing license number belonging to someone else. But the charges come 2 years after state regulators first got a complaint about her. A family told regulators that a facility where Wood worked, called Elk Run Assisted Living, refused to produce Wood's license number when asked to see it. Well, Dora investigated, but it decided that Wood did in fact have a valid license, originally from Texas, just under her maiden name, Heather Stone. Problem is, as you can probably guess by now, Heather Stone in Texas is an entirely different person. That Heather told Contact 7 that Colorado regulators never even bothered to call her. Well, not long after this, Wood took another nursing job at Glenwood Springs Healthcare. When staff there eventually asked Wood to prove she's licensed, she stopped showing up to work. That ultimately got Dora involved again, which finally contacted police, leading to the arrest warrant and charges today.
Contact 7 discovered some of these imposters will get right in your face, quite literally, for the right price.
So you do the treatment. Are you the doctor?
Yeah.
You're the doctor who does the treatment? Okay.
This guy is not a doctor at all, but he's giving injections of Botox. We confront him. We also dig in deep on an accused fake dentist, a woman who treated hundreds of people in our community for years.
So is it possible that she was using rusty equipment on patients then? I mean, at least partially rusty?
Yeah, no, yeah, definitely. And just so you know, she's not a real doctor. And then like all the patients would be like, oh, really? And I'm like, yeah.
This woman says she discovered she worked for a fake dentist. She joined her colleagues in sounding the alarm, but it took more than a year for Colorado regulators to intervene. And in that time, Contact 7 learned the accused fake dentist treated easily hundreds of people in a community that is already disadvantaged.
If you drill down on what happened inside You Smile Family Dental in Denver, you realize the owner was no dentist at all.
She did illegal stuff, like, we don't think that's right.
Noemi Hernandez worked there. She witnessed it.
She would do the deep cleanings. She doesn't know how deep, how she's supposed to go.
She said she watched a woman named Maria Alvarez performing dental jobs without any kind of license. She says many of the patients were immigrants. Botched procedures, bogus prescriptions, even dirty tools. Noemi said she saw it all.
How often did that happen?
Oh my God, like so many times. And then there was a point where like we started noticing that the instruments were like getting rusted.
Noemi and her two colleagues had finally had enough and laid it all out in a complaint to the Colorado Dental Board and state regulators in the fall of 2015 after they had all quit their jobs at Maria's office.
It just got me, first of all, like furious.
But their expectations of a fast response fell apart to the point they thought no one cared. Records show it took more than 5 months for a state investigator to even visit the office and more than a year for the state to tell Maria to cease and desist.
The records that we have show that you all filed a complaint, and then it took 14 months for the state regulators to actually file paperwork telling Maria, stop doing what you're doing because you're not licensed to do it. That's got to be frustrating, I would think.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like, I was really mad.
Is that acceptable?
I don't think it is.
Indeed, the frustration was shared by Dr. Ben Menlove, a real dentist who helped Noemi and her friends file their complaint.
We are extremely concerned about the illegal and unethical dental practices being performed.
He's also the man who had to clean up the fake dentist problems when he said patients of hers would sometimes come to him needing help.
A lot of times it was just a lack of work, or she would do extractions and the roots were broken off. If the root is broken off and it's retained in the bone, it will cause infection.
Dr. Menlove, like Noemi and her friends, believed the state's failure to act quickly was avoidable, especially since Maria Alvarez treated sometimes 15 patients a day, 6 days a week. They say she was also on Spanish-speaking radio frequently, identified as Dr. Maria.
I've seen and been around enough to know that without consequences or repercussions, people tend to push the envelope as far as they can.
Contact 7 tried to track down and talk with Maria Alvarez to no avail. Online and at her old dental office turned into some sort of a skincare clinic. The state has no record of ever referring her case to law enforcement, but she told regulators that she was not doing any unauthorized treatments, that there were real dentists in the office who did the work. And she also claimed she was a dentist in Mexico. But at the very least, the people who dealt with her here are grateful her supposed dental office is finally closed and hope she finally got the message.
Exactly.
Now, people in the Spanish-speaking and immigrant communities appear to be especially vulnerable to unlicensed healthcare workers. We say that because we tracked down a fake doctor who will stick a needle in your face for the right price.
Basic pleasantries do little to mask the problems we found here in Aurora.
Yo estoy muy nerviosa.
What do you need?
Sí, Botox, sí, yo soy Miki. ¿Cómo se llama?
Alfredo.
Alfredo, ¿tú eres el doctor?
Yeah.
Speaking a combination of Spanish and English, 2 undercover Denver 7 employees caught this guy, Alfredo Ruiz, offering to inject Botox without the proper state license or doctor supervision.
What does the needle look like?
The needle? Very sharp.
Which can be dangerous and toxic to anyone if done wrong.
Do you have a lot of patients or?
No.
You do? Yeah. How many a day?
They 10 patients.
So you do the treatment. Are you the doctor?
Yeah.
You're the doctor who does the treatment?
Okay.
Okay.
Hola. Hola. ¿Eres Alfredo?
¿Y?
¿Eres un doctor? Are you a doctor?
No, soy certificado en laser clinic.
Despite the documented video evidence of what he told our 2 employees, Ruiz tried to say that other doctors are the ones who inject the drugs here and also perform skin laser treatments.
The procedure is the other doctor.
But the 2 real doctors listed on his office door weren't there. They later told regulators that they never supervised or delegated any medical services to Ruiz. Also, Ruiz disputes 2 separate cease and desist orders from regulators, one in 2013, the other in 2017. Both were the result of very detailed complaints filed by the same woman. Both identified the same problems we did. Yet, despite orders from the state to stop practicing without a license, Ruiz was advertising and offering the same services online and out front right up until the day we showed up. Botox, skin lasers, and more.
Is the state wrong?
Mm-hmm.
Is falso or no?
Yeah, it's false.
Why did you identify yourself as a doctor to them?
What?
You said you were a doctor. You're not a doctor.
No, it's just as a technician.
Right, but you told them that you're a doctor.
Oh.
Dijiste que eres un doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pero no es doctor.
O sea, in Mexico, I am the doctor. In Mexico.
But you're not licensed to be a doctor here in Colorado.
The technician.
Under Colorado law, it is a crime to say you're a doctor or perform medical procedures without a license. First a misdemeanor, then a felony. But Alfredo Ruiz has never once faced criminal charges. And given what you see now,
El doctor, bueno.
state regulators stepped in once again.
We did obtain a temporary restraining order against Mr. Ruiz.
They're acting quickly, but that did not happen before. In fact, in their previous 2 cases against Ruiz, it took them months to even visit him after they first received the complaints about him. Not to mention, those previous 2 cases did not readily appear on the DORA website. Contact 7 stumbled on them by accident, listed under no name or the wrong name.
So 5 or 6 months goes by. This guy's offering to stick needles in people's faces. How is that acceptable?
Again, I find those cases unacceptable. I think that we are constantly seeking to improve.
Aurora police have joined regulators in trying to find Ruiz, but for now he is off the grid again. It's unclear what could happen to him in the end, but something will, despite him telling us he's not doing anything wrong.
Should I tell them that you are doing it correctly? I mean, you think you're doing it correctly. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah.
¿Entiendes?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Initially, regulators at DORA, the Colorado Division of Regulatory Agencies, did not want to speak with us on camera at all about any of these stories. But as you saw, they have, and so has the governor.
No, I wasn't aware, and I think this is the role of the media.
Governor Hickenlooper got directly involved in the wake of our reporting, and there are now a number of solutions in place. We'll tell you about that and how to spot a healthcare imposter when Unlicensed, Unpunished continues.
Well, it's clear there's a systemic failure here.
I mean, are you going to be personally involved with this?
No, I don't have a problem following up. I don't mind being the heavy.
Colorado leaders who work in courtrooms and at the Capitol are just as stunned by unlicensed and unpunished healthcare workers as the rest of us. And chief among them, Governor John Hickenlooper. He is the chief executive of Colorado state government and got directly involved with the agency that had been failing to stop these healthcare imposters.
Were you aware of these concerns about these fake doctors and nurses and psychologists prior to seeing our story or hearing about our story?
No, I wasn't aware, and I think this is the role of the media. People aren't aware that these kinds of slips are occurring, and in some circumstances, such as what you found, they could have significant ramifications.
Where's the breakdown, would you say, or is this a breakdown?
I think it was a lapse of the system. In other words, the system was there was no rigorous follow-up.
No, there wasn't. Governor Hickenlooper saw what we saw, healthcare imposters who may have treated you or someone you love.
Why am I meeting with it?
You're under arrest because I believe that you falsified your information there.
You said you're a clinical psychologist, sir.
No, I'm not. I didn't say that. I'm a clinical psychologist.
State regulators told both of these imposters to stop more than once.
It's disturbing. I mean, not just as a prosecutor and a former district attorney, but just as a citizen, it's disturbing.
Tom Raines is the executive director of the Colorado District Attorney's Council, which represents every district attorney across the state. He's just as concerned as the governor.
Well, it's clear there's a systemic failure here.
He's alarmed at what Contact 7 Investigates uncovered, that Colorado's Department of Regulatory Agencies, or DORA, has rarely referred complaints about fake healthcare professionals to law enforcement or prosecutors.
Is there any good reason that you can think of why you would not pursue that case?
No, you'd have to pursue it because that individual practicing medicine without a license is endangering too many people on a daily basis, and who knows, tens, hundreds, thousands. It's too serious.
That is where the changes will come.
I mean, are you going to be personally involved with this?
No, I don't have a problem following up. I don't mind being the heavy.
Governor Hickenlooper says he's having DORA rewrite its own policies to make sure they actually do follow-ups about possible imposters and get police and prosecutors involved if need be.
I mean, as always, in public office, you hate to tell the journalists, it's a good thing you did that, because otherwise we wouldn't have gotten it, and you're actually making the community safer.
One of the solutions is brand new. DORA put together a training video with the help of Denver police for police across the whole state. It will help officers identify healthcare imposters much more quickly.
It is vitally important for consumers to know that their professional healthcare providers are licensed.
The folks at DORA now want police to know what we're telling you too, that their civil court process is not always effective.
But not all who receive a cease and desist order abide by it.
The fake nurse, psychologist, and Botox doctor we found are three great examples of people like that, people who ignored DORA's cease and desist orders. DORA's message to police: we may need a criminal process to deal with these people as well, and you can help. They say collaboration is a top priority.
We want to work with you as closely as possible when it is determined that someone is potentially creating consumer harm.
Now, if you want to do your own investigation on healthcare imposters, you can, to a point. The DORA website here is a great place to start. You can check to see if your dentist or doctor or nurse or cosmetologist or even acupuncturist is in fact licensed with our state. Real ones take pride in being above board. You can also check to see if they have any disciplinary records on file right here. We have a how-to explanation of what to look for on the denverchannel.com right now on the Contact 7 page. The Contact 7 Investigates team is committed to standing up for the little guy and finding solutions to problems every day. Call us, email us, message us on Facebook. Tell us what we can do to help you and our community. Help us right the wrongs out there. You can always remain anonymous. I'm Contact 7 investigative reporter Ryan Luby. Thank you for joining us and helping us expose Colorado's unlicensed and unpunished.